Here we go.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Last Saturday slate of games of the year. Next week is all Sunday, I believe, for anyone that plays in a Week 18 championship. What is going on, everybody? What's up? What's up, Jeff? What's up, man? What's up, Brian? Shuck or Dart and flex Emmanuel Wilson, Michael Carter, or Coker. I would go Carter, and I would go Dart. What's up, Brian? What's up, Skilly? How you doing, man? Texans or Saints defense? Personally, I would go Texans. Yo, what's up? Hey, what's up, Caitlin? Taysom Hill or Brenton Strange? I would go Strange. Will CJ and Nico go off today? I mean, I think it's impossible to guarantee anything at this point with CJ Stroud and Nico Collins, just because of how bad the offensive line is. I do think, though, if the Chargers can push this game to be high scoring, like, to me, a lot of the production of CJ Stroud and Nico Collins in this game kind of just depend on, can the LA Chargers keep this game competitive? If the game is not competitive, then I think CJ Stroud and Nico could have a terrible day. If the game is competitive, then I think both CJ and Nico could end up having humongous games. Lamar to Miami, I'm seeing that. Who knows, honestly. Obviously, as a Dolphins fan, it sucks that the guy that we drafted, a guy that I believed in, happy holidays to you as well, Raz. He's terrible, and that really does suck. That Tua was bad. That his career as a Dolphin is over. I'm a fan of Lamar Jackson. Is Lamar Jackson the answer? Probably not. You know, I don't really think anyone is the answer in Miami, frankly. As sad as that may sound, like, until someone can win us a playoff game, I just need to stop believing blindly. Like, I try to believe in all these players for years, and it just doesn't work. It just does not work. So I hope Lamar's in Miami. He gives us a good chance to, get our first playoff win in 26 years. But at the end of the day, I would not, bet my gold doubloons that Lamar will be there. Start Pats D or Jaguars D, Rico or Carter. Thanks. Thank you, Zachary. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you guys all for joining the stream. I appreciate you guys. Hope you guys did have a Merry Christmas if you celebrate. Happy holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas. And just hope you had a good time in general, having time off of work, I assume, for a lot of you guys. So hope you guys are doing well. Thank you guys so much for joining the stream, by the way. It means a lot to me. So would you start the Patriots or the Jaguars defense? And Rico or Carter? Thank you. Great question. So first question is Patriots versus Jaguars defense. I have the Patriots at 2, Jaguars at 10. Now, Phillip Rivers looked really good last week. It definitely wouldn't shock me if the more games Rivers plays, the worse he looked, right? Like, if the team was to have made the playoffs, I think we were potentially in a scenario where a few weeks from now he plays like absolute dog shit. But I definitely have to go with the Patriots. I mean, the Patriots defense has been kind of up and down, but Brady Cook is terrible. The Jets are basically a free matchup when it comes to having your defense go up against them. I mean, the guy just loves throwing interceptions. He loves turning the ball over. He loves taking sacks. So I'm going with the Patriots. And then Rico or Carter is a great question as well. Now, in my opinion, I'm definitely a big fan of Rico Dowdle, right? I am as big of a fan as Rico Dowdle as it gets, but his matchup up against Seattle isn't the most ideal. And I still do think we could potentially be in a scenario with Rico where he just continues to kind of get metaphorically screwed by, the coaching staff, and you see more Chuba than you would like. So if it's me, I think I'm just going to go with Michael Carter, clear RB1 in the team in the best matchup for running backs on a per game basis up against the Cincinnati Bengals. While obviously, Michael Carter isn't a guy that it's easy to envision going absolutely nuclear and winning you your week. If there ever was a week for him to do it, it would be up against a dog shit Cincinnati Bengals defense. So personally, I would go with the Patriots defense, and I would go with Michael Carter. Thank you for the super chat. A great pickup for those who really need a receiver. Pick up Kyle Williams for the Patriots. Matt Collins and Kayshon Boutte are out today. May throws deep. I do think that is a good tip from Emmanuel. I definitely do think Kyle Williams is a good player. Now, I thought Kyle Williams was going to be a guy that would be more involved throughout the year. I really thought that Matt Collins was kind of just a nothing. Demario Douglas kind of just a nothing. Kayshon Boutte kind of just a nothing. And we would see a lot of Kyle Williams. That has not been the case. But with so many injuries to the team, Kyle Williams has looked good. So, yeah, I agree with you. If you are in a bad situation and you need a deep shot at the wide receiver position, I think that Kyle Williams could easily score a touchdown. 100%. It's just kind of one of those things where unless you're like really down bad, do you really want to be starting, in that scenario? Do you really want to be in that type of scenario? Is more what I mean, right? Like in your fantasy championship, having to rely on that. Anyone that is a Patreon, the rankings have been updated. Woody Marks is good to go. So I've got Woody Marks, RB22. I'm going to bump Jawar Jordan down. I still think if you're in like a dire scenario and you had to play him, I don't think it's that crazy for him to actually have a decent game, but that's how I got it right now. That is how I got it right now. So, yes, Kyle Williams, I do think he definitely has the pedigree to have a great game. I mean, the thing about Drake May is he's just playing so well that, without Diggs fully getting the oomph still, without them still fully giving, Diggs what I think he deserves, I think we could easily see Kyle Williams have a decent game. Again, if you're in a scenario where maybe you just have wide receivers that you don't trust, he's a guy with big upside. Manuel, thank you for the super chat. Nick, I should have played Diggs. Yeah, I know. I know. But the thing is with Diggs, you blink, Diggs has a great game. You blink, he has a terrible game, right? To me, there really doesn't seem to be a rhyme or reason behind it. Now, maybe we see Diggs blow up again. Wouldn't shock me. But at the same time, it's hard to trust a guy that, I wouldn't be surprised if Diggs got 2 targets. Like, it just would not surprise me at all. And that's like something that's a very hard pill to swallow if you're someone that is relying heavily on Diggs. I do trust him now more than I did last week. But again, I still think it's a tough proposition to put all the eggs in the basket of him. Again, I was wrong about him, and I'm not going to sit here and just lie straight to you guys, be like, oh yeah, I was definitely right on him, because I wasn't right? And I never lie to you guys. I'm not going to say I was right when I was wrong, but it's just pretty fucking annoying. Like Diggs last week plays 59% of the snaps, the highest amount of snaps he's played since week 11. Why is he not just playing 70% of the snaps? I still don't get that. Maybe Emmanuel has a better read on that because he's a Patriots fan. Maybe he just has a better idea than I do. But it just, to me, is just crazy that they're still not unloading the clip on him. I knew exactly why you didn't trust him. Thanks for everything, though. No, that's perfectly fine. I do appreciate you. I do appreciate you. To me, it seems like if they just gave Diggs, the 70% snaps, they just gave Diggs 7+ targets every week, we would be talking about Diggs as a league winner, in my opinion. And that's how I viewed him going into the season. There was a reason why I was so big on him. It's because I thought that the team was going to feed him the ball. I thought he was going to be a focal piece in this offense. And that just isn't how it played out. Now, I think in the playoffs, you will actually see that be the case. Him be a much bigger piece in the offense, and he's going to be a very interesting player to talk about next year. Like, what do we do? Are we going to spend the draft capital on him based on playoff production or not? That's going to be an interesting topic. Sticky Sprite, thank you for the super chat. Rank Mondre, Munungai, Reed, Ladd, Parker Washington, Pierce, Rico. Thank you for the super chat. Now, my assumption right now is that Travion Henderson will play. Now, the most recent report on Travion Henderson is Henderson shed, this is from December 26th, which is yesterday. Henderson shed his non-contact jersey on Friday and will have a chance to suit up for Sunday's game up against the Jets. Henderson still needs to clear concussion protocol to get on the field, but the decision to list him as questionable suggests that the team believes he'll be able to clear protocol in time. His status remains one to watch, but if he is clear, Henderson will be on the radar for fantasy as like a high-end RB2. I got him as a low-end RB1 if he plays. If he plays, you're playing him. Now, my assumption is that he is out. I think that he is in. So that would mean that Ramondre would not be a guy that I would love to start. Now, Ramondre has actually been very consistent over the last few games, and I will give him all the credit in the world for being consistent, right? Because I am more of a Ramondre hater, so I will give him credit when he plays well. I will give him not the credit when he plays bad. I used to be a Ramondre guy, was a huge Ramondre guy a few years ago. And, I just think Travion Henderson is way better than him. And I don't really understand why sometimes it feels like we're in a split when I don't think there should be a split at all. But so if I was to rank them in terms of just overall rankings, I would go, I'm just trying to make sure I got this correctly. I would go Rico. I would go Lad. I'm going to type this out because this is a longer question. Lad, Rico, Manungai, Parker, Reed, Pierce, Mondre. Now, the reason why I have Ladd at the top is I know Nick Ladd has been really bad over the last 2 games. And Nick, the Texans defense is a bad matchup. I know it's a must-win game for both these teams. Want to win this game. I really think still very strongly that Ladd is the safety blanket of the Chargers offense. I know it might feel disgusting because you've been screwed by Ladd McConkey multiple games in a row. And again, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat what has occurred with Ladd McConkey. But to me, the upside of Ladd McConkey, any given game, is top 5 wide receiver. I think he is that good. Now, again, my projection on McConkey was wrong from the offseason. I was big on Ladd. And obviously, if you drafted Ladd McConkey, you've just kind of felt mid about it, right? It wasn't your worst selection ever, right? Obviously, you can draft guys early on the draft that completely suck ass, and he hasn't been that, but he definitely didn't live up to my expectations. So, in my opinion, I still do believe in Ladd's upside. Then I would go with Rico second because Rico might be a tough cookie to read going into the game, just like Ladd, but the upside of Rico always is going to be very, very high just because, when the Panthers offense looks great, he could score 30 plus fantasy points. After that is Manungai. The usage of Swift and him definitely differs every single week, but he's another guy with big upside because of his usage inside of the red zone. After that would be Parker, just because of what we saw last week. Then Reed, because I think even with Malik Willis, Reed could have a decent game. Pierce, the first game with Rivers, it was Downs. Last week it was Pierce. This week, I think it's probably going to be more Michael Pittman Jr. And then I have Mondre last, just because Mondre just doesn't really feel like he has that much, sexy type of upside level with Travion Henderson back. So Ladd, Rico, Manungai, Parker, Reed, Pierce, Ramondre. Thank you for the super chat. Rav, my man, thank you for the super chat. Need this right. PPR Hampton now or Hendo/Jalen Warren? Now, this is one of those questions where it really is, do you believe in what I read, right? Do you believe that Travion Henderson will play? Because if Travion Henderson plays against the Jets, the upside is 40 fantasy points. I'm not saying he's going to score 40 fantasy points because, Ramondre at any given point could cuck him. Ramondre at any given point could screw him over. But the upside is gigantic. Gun to the head, I believe Hampton. I believe in Hampton this week because there's no Kamani Vidal, but the matchup is the best against the Texans. If Hendo plays, he will smash. I would rather take the risk in your scenario based on the information that we have on Henderson and assume he plays. Now, again, an assumption can make an ass out of you and me, so I'm not saying it's a mortal lock that Henderson plays, but to me, he's teetering closer towards playing than not playing, and I still think Jalen Warren could have a big game if, Henderson doesn't play, so I'd rather roll the dice and get the upside of Henderson. So personally, I would go with Henderson/Jalen Warren because I do think Henderson's going to play. Ultimate Progress, thank you for the super chat. Full PPR wide receiver 2. Help BTJ, Pittman, Godwin, Burden, or Trey Tucker. Happy holidays, by the way. You helped me with your weekly vids to get into my first championship. Congratulations to Ultimate Progress. Congratulations to all you guys, because there's a reason why you're watching the stream. It's because you made your fantasy championship, which is, outstanding to me. I didn't make a single fantasy championship this year. I know the asshole you listened to give the advice didn't make a single championship. I got absolutely raw dogged last week in one of my leagues. I went up against JSN, Chase Brown, James Cook. I got Eiffel Towered, but an Eiffel Tower is where you get smashed by 2 different guys, right? My team got smashed in all holes. I was like Bonnie Blue last week. Pause. It was terrible. It was a bad experience. I got 220 points scored on me. It was so bad, but it is what it is. And then my other league, I also just got absolutely destroyed. My whole team shit the bed. It was terrible. One of the Hall of Fame worst experiences. It was rough, but we getting that back in blood next year, okay? We're getting our championship back, so we don't got to worry about that. Fantasy is a luck-based game, I'd still watch. At the end of the day, there is some luck that comes into it. I got very unlucky. And that's what I would say if I lost too. Like, if you lose your championship, you're like, dude, this is all luck-based, man. You got lucky. Okay. BTJ, Pittman, Godwin, Burden, or Trey Tucker. Happy holidays to you as well. Congratulations to everyone that made it here. So, in my opinion, if you just need a wide receiver 2, your wide receiver 2 is going to be Luther Burden because there's no Rome. I like DJ Moore a lot, and I have DJ Moore ranked ahead of Burden. The Bears are going to want to win this game. The Bears are going to want to win this game. I'm not saying the Bears are going to win this game. I'm not saying the 49ers can't beat them. I'm not saying that, but I think this game could be very high scoring, and I think Luther Burden is very trustworthy. I know earlier on in the season, Zacchaeus was just, really being annoying, but ever since Burden got a serious amount of snaps, Burden has been eating. I definitely go Burden if I can play 1. If I can play 2, BTJ is such a tough cookie to break down every week because, I really like Brian Thomas Jr., but how many times in a row can the guy fuck you over before you kind of call it quits? I think if I had to rank them, and I will rank them, it would be Burden, Godwin, BTJ, Pittman, Trey Tucker. I like Pittman, but it's really hard for me to trust Phillip Rivers, as sad as that sounds, especially because Rivers had a great game last week. And if you played Pittman, he wasn't that good. So my ranking of them would be Burden, it would be Godwin, it would be BTJ, Pittman, Trey Tucker. Blue Line, thank you for the super chat. Lawrence or Mayfield have Gainwell, Walker, Dowdle, Jalen Warren, and Jacobs. Need to start 3. Also have AJ Brown, Nico Higgins, Diggs, start 2, full PPR. Thank you, no problem. I want to make it very known that I am low on Josh Jacobs this week. Now, I understand that you guys are in your fantasy championship. You made it there with Josh Jacobs. You're probably playing Josh Jacobs. I understand. He's going to play. I am worried about him potentially getting re-injured. I am worried about them limiting his snaps. I am worried about him potentially getting vultured on the goal line by Emmanuel Wilson. There are a lot of things that worry me. Do I think that he's guaranteed to have a bad game? Of course not. I think even if they limit his snaps, his touches, he could still have a huge game. But those are just thoughts that are in my mind about Josh Jacobs based on what we've seen recently. I'm not saying Josh Jacobs is a must sit, but I'm also not going to lie to you and tell you that Josh Jacobs is a must start because I don't believe that he is. So Lawrence or Mayfield, I'm going Lawrence. Lawrence is on a certified heater, a verified heater. The guy's dropped his nuts in the defense's mouth in back-to-back games. I think he could easily do it again against the Indianapolis Colts. And up against the Jets, he made it rain, right? That was a game where they beat the Jets within 5 seconds of the game. The second the ball was kicked, the game was over. And they still just kept laying devastating blows, CTE level blows, concussive blows to the brain of the Jets. I think they'll do the same thing here, even if Rivers isn't able to do anything. But based on what we saw last week, maybe Rivers does something good in the first half, keeps it close. I'm going Lawrence. You have Gainwell, Dowdle, Warren, Jacobs, start 3. I'm going Uncle Rico. I'm going Jalen Warren, and I'm going Jacobs. I know, Nick, Kenneth Walker had a great game last week. Nick, you told me to sit Kenneth Walker, and Kenneth Walker went nuclear last week. What I will tell you right now is this is a saying that my dad used to always say. A blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while, right? A broken clock is right twice a day. I have been right on Kenneth Walker for years. I have been right on Kenneth Walker a majority of weeks this season. The guy is a trap, Admiral Akbar style, right? You fall for the trap he set for you. He set you. You're like a mouse. There's some nice cheese on a trap, but you don't know it's a trap, right? You're a fucking mouse. You go up to it, boom, your head is gone. That is what happens when you fall for the Kenneth Walker trap, okay? I get it's the 8th best matchup, but the guy was cooking, and they only gave him 11 carries. He had 100 rushing yards, and they only gave him 11 carries. He had 3 receptions on 3 targets for 64 yards and a touchdown. How likely is that to happen again? Not very likely. Now, obviously, if they give Kenneth Walker the keys, Kenneth Walker has all the ability to be one of the best running backs in fantasy football. I've been saying this for years. All it's about for me is the workload. If they gave the guy a dominant share of touches, I see no reason as to why he can't be a league winner, but they don't do that, so I don't trust him. So, in my opinion, he would be getting the pine. I am playing Rico, I'm playing Jalen Warren, and I'm playing Josh Jacobs. And then after that, you need 2. AJ Brown, Nico, Higgins, Diggs. You cannot sit AJ Brown, and I'm not sitting Nico Collins. It's a debate between A.J. Brown, Nico Collins, and Higgins. I think, gun to the head, if you want it to be a little bit safer, I think A.J. Brown and Higgins are a little bit safer, but I'm still going A.J. Brown and Nico. I'm looking for that upside. So we're going Jaylen Warren, we're going Jacobs, we're going Dowdle, we're going A.J. Brown, and Nico Collins. Those were good questions. Those are good questions. Hendo will for sure be limited if he plays. It's a pattern. I agree with you too, but against the Jets, you don't need 80 carries to have a great game, right? That's kind of just how I see things. Derek, thank you for the super chat. Derek Kohler, thank you. Dowdle, Marks, Kenneth Walker, Pierce, Egbuka, Godwin, BTJ, Dobbs, Strange, Schultz. Need one flex, 2 running backs, 1 receiver, 1 tight end. Thank you so much for the super chat, Derek. I really appreciate that. So you're playing Woody Marks. Woody Marks, I know, is gross. Woody Marks, every time it seems like I talk the guy up, the guy gets whacked out. He gets hurt. And it seems like it's a pattern at this point. You play him, he gets hurt, and you're really disappointed. But again, I know the matchup might not be the best, but this is going to be a competitive game. This is going to be a game, in my opinion, where the Texans will be in it and they will be able to run the ball. And while the offensive line isn't the best, we've seen Marks have these huge explosive games regardless. I wouldn't, bet my life that Woody Marks has a great game, but I do have him ranked as a top 24 back. I would trust Dowdle more than I trust Kenneth Walker, so I'm going Marks and Dowdle. But we're going to play Kenneth Walker in your scenario because I don't love 2 of those receivers enough to play those guys as a flex. Emeka Egbuka has gotten the talk up from the coaching staff. And what I mean by that is the coaching staff has acknowledged that Emeka Egbuka's silence in this offense cannot be going forward. They need to give him the ball more. They need to get him more involved. Is that guaranteed to happen? I wouldn't say so. But the fact that that has been so heavily reported tells me that I think the team's going to look to give Egbuka more touches. Again, would I come on here and full on trust Egbuka? No. But in your scenario, I'm going to do it. We're going to go Dowdle. We're going to go Marks. We're going to go Kenneth Walker. We're going to go Egbuka. And we're going to go, I think I have Schultz over Strange. I just want to make sure. Yes, we're going to go Schultz. I love Schultz. Schultz is super safe. I got Schultz, tight end 7, Strange, tight end 9. So we're going to go Dowdle, Marks, Walker, Egbuka, Schultz. Again, strictly because of the Egbuka Gawk 9,000 special the guy's been getting by the coaching staff. If you want to be a little bit safer, maybe just play Godwin. I don't think Pierce is able to do what he did last week. So Dowdle, Marks, Walker, Egbuka, Schultz. That is my answer. Ebola. Emeka Ebola. Trojan, thank you for the super chat. Can we trust Mike Vrabel to not limit Hendo to just play Ramondre? Thoughts on Falcons sitting players in a game that gets out of hand? I want to start more over Drake. I genuinely don't think that the Falcons are going to sit anyone. I think that's a coach that knows he's fucked, and a coach that knows he's fucked isn't going to potentially sit his players. That's my opinion on things. Now, if this was a coach that knew next year was promised, that knew he's coming back next year, for instance, let's just envision, Andy Reid, right? If the game gets out of hand and, Rashee Rice is playing and stuff, I know he's not, but if Rashee Rice was playing and Rashee Rice gets sat in the second half, that wouldn't shock me. Why? Because Andy Reid knows that he is coming back next year. This guy doesn't know that. I wouldn't think that he will be coming back. So I do think that the Falcons will keep all the guys in the game. If you want to play more over Drake London, go right ahead. I still believe in Drake London. I believed in him heavily in the summer. He was the player that I talked probably the most about. There were 3 players that I put my stamp of approval on constantly. It was McCaffrey, it was A-Chain, and it was Drake London. Those 3 early round picks were getting the Sukalamink special, the Hawk Tua special every single week from me. And, I feel right about all those guys. I'm going to go with London. I'm riding or dying with London. London has that unreal upside to be the wide receiver one any given game. He got a lot of targets last week. Sure, it didn't go his way. My team is playing London. But if you want to play DJ Moore, go ahead and play him. Because I always say you will feel better going with your own gut. So if you want to go with Moore over Drake, go right ahead. And I do think that they will limit Hendo. But again, you don't need Hendo out there playing 8,000 snaps to have a great game against the Jets. That is my opinion. Rise above everything. What's up, bro? Lad, Michael Carter, Michael Wilson. Happy Christmas 100%. Thank you so much, Rise. I really appreciate you. Lad, Michael Carter, Michael Wilson. Now, Michael Wilson last week scored that touchdown. A little fugazi to some, greatness for others. In my opinion, I love Lad McConkey. Again, I'm going to keep talking up Lad McConkey because I like him. The matchup's rough, but I do think Lad McConkey, in a way, is due for a big game. But at the end of the day, I think your smart move is to play one of the Cardinals. I think if you want to be as safe as possible, you play Michael Carter, because while I don't think Michael Carter has the upside to really elbow drop the Bengals, even though it's the best matchup, and score like 40 fantasy points, like someone will just vulture the touchdown or he'll throw it to Trey McBride or something. I would be shocked if Michael Carter scored less than 14 fantasy points. I think he's basically locked and loaded to get that. I just don't know if he's going to reach that apex of scoring 20. Whereas, in my opinion, Michael Wilson might have a lower floor, right? He's not a lock to necessarily get 7+ targets, right? He's not a lock to bake yourself in to getting 10 fantasy points. But for me, I'm more about the upside. And I think Wilson has the upside to take your fantasy championship and grab it and put it in his back pocket. He has the chance to win you your game. So for that reason, I would go with Michael Wilson. Though if you want to be safer, which I don't think is that crazy, I would go Michael Carter, but I'm going to go with Michael Wilson. Bun B, the Trilogy, thank you for the super chat. Half PPR, Dart, Cousins, or Shuck? Great question. Now, the thing about Dart is this is, what people are talking about is the all-time tank bowl. This is a game where it seems like the Giants are tanking. Seems like the Raiders are tanking. A lot of people not playing. That scares me. What happened with Jackson Dart last week, I don't think is very vindictive that Jackson Dart's a bad quarterback. We just saw Jared Goff get locked in a box by the Vikings on Christmas. I would go Tyler Shuck. Just feels like the safest move, right? Going up against the Titans. Great matchup for quarterbacks. I don't really see Tyler Shuck completely shitting the bed. I could see that happening to Dart. I could see that happening to Cousins. I would go Shuck. It's between Shuck and Dart. I lean Shuck. And next year's discussion on Shuck is going to be very interesting. I was not a Shuckster. I was not on the Shucks. Shout out to Goofy, right? I was not on Tyler Shuck. I thought after he spent 8,000 years in college, maybe he's smart, but I don't know if he's a great quarterback. He has proved me very wrong, and I will give him all the praise in the world. I definitely go Shuck in the good matchup. XOMODOH. Zomo, though. Thank you for the super chat. Cameron Dicker, Chase McLaughlin for the kicker. Thoughts on Kittle? Do I just wait to see if he plays, or do I play Tongs, or do I just go with Schultz on the waiver? Now, that's a good question, and this is a good part of the stream to just look up some injury news. The problem with Kittle is he's questionable, and the game, I believe, is that the Monday night game? 49ers? Sunday night. Kittle did not practice this week and reportedly told Kyle Shanahan that he should have a better answer tomorrow, which would be today, because reports from yesterday. Kittle is no stranger to playing through injury, although he is clearly less than 100%. He warrants tight end 1 treatment if active. This is one of those kind of scenarios, to me, where it's like, do you think you're going to win or not? If you feel like you're going to lose, I would probably wait it out and play Kittle. Because if you're thinking you're going to lose, Kittle has the upside to win your game by himself, even banged up, right? Tongs probably won't be great, but he'll be okay, and he could score. So, like, you won't be completely screwed. Whereas if you think you have a good read on your opponent, like if you feel confident in the matchup, I'm probably just picking up Schultz and playing him, get my 10 plus points. The safe move is to play Schultz. I personally, genuinely, I honestly kind of don't think Kittle's going to play. Again, I'm not a doctor, but him not practicing all week is a terrible indication towards him playing. I want to see if there's anything else on Kittle on Twitter. Take a look. According to their AI model, okay, so according to Fantasy Pros AI model, he has a 17% chance to play. I don't really necessarily trust that. Anything else? Does George Kittle have me blocked on Twitter? No, he just mutes who can answer him. I thought for a second he had me blocked. I was like, what the fuck? Why does Kittle got me blocked? Let's see. Was there anything else on Kittle? Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else on Kittle. Not seeing anything else. George Kittle, questionable. Yeah, so again, I think gun to the head, I would say he's probably out, but I also, that I wouldn't say it's a guarantee that he's out. If you want to be safe, you play Schultz. If if you feel like you're going to win, I'm playing Schultz. If I feel like I might lose, I'd probably play Kittle for the upside, and then if Kittle doesn't play, you just pick up Tongs. Fannin is the lock. You think Fannin is back? And then Dicker or McLaughlin. Dicker or McLaughlin. Dicker or McLaughlin. I got Dicker. Dicker. I barely knew her. Dicker is 11, McLaughlin 7, so I'd go McLaughlin. Again, I'm going McLaughlin and Kittle. But if you want to be safe, you play Schultz. Won't Hendo be limited if he plays? Have Hampton or Jalen Warren wait for London or play Michael Wilson? Had Devontae as well. Play Goddard or Tongues if Kittle is out. If Kittle's out, you definitely want to play Goddard. And I think we will have the Kittle answer probably 2 hours from now. They'll probably tell us. But obviously we don't have that report now, so that makes things a lot tougher. Definitely Goddard. I'm definitely playing Henderson. Because if I'm assuming he's playing, and then you can just pivot to Jalen Warren. Wait for London or play Michael Wilson. Yeah, I mean, I think Drake London's going to play from what I've read. There are no plans for the Raiders to shut down any players. Okay. That has nothing to do with anything. Drake London. And then we're going to go a little bit quicker because we are behind on questions. Falcons feel great about him playing, according to head coach Raheem Morris. Yeah, I assume Drake London's going to play. So, yes, I do think Hendo will be limited, but you don't need to be 100% to beat the to beat the Jets. I would just play London because I believe London will play. And then if Kittle's out, I play Goddard. Thanks for the super chat. Bill, PPR, choose 2. Jacobs, Tet, Michael Wilson, Devontae Smith. Thanks. Great question. Yeah, it sucks because I don't really believe in Josh Jacobs because of, the injury concerns and because he hasn't been the best. I think the smart move would be to play 2 wide receivers, and I would go with Tedero McMillan and Michael Wilson. I love Devontae Smith in any given game. He could pop off. This feels like the kind of game up against the Bills where he would pop off, but I trust Tedero much more, and I trust Michael Wilson more, so I'm going to go that way. Again, no one be surprised if Jacobs has a huge game, but also don't come back to me and be like, Nick, you were right. Don't be shocked if Jacobs has a bad game because, again, I think he might be on a snap restriction. I'm really worried about Jacobs. So I'm going to go Tedero McMillan and Michael Wilson. Smitty, thank you for the super chat. Lad, MHA, or Trey Tucker, PPR, I have 5-point lead. Yeah, I mean, Trey Tucker is basically just acknowledging, basically the only scenario I'm playing Trey Tucker is if no one really did this on Sunday. I mean, on Thursday. But, if you were going up against someone that their 2 players scored 70 points, which I don't even think was possible. If you were going up against JCM and someone else who had a huge... If you went up against JCM and the Vikings defense, that's the kind of scenario where I'm just like, F it, play Trey Tucker. But in your normal scenario, I just don't think you can do that. I'm playing Lad again. I know Lad's floor is very low, but it's not like, you know, Trey Tucker has a huge floor, in my opinion. It's not like MHJ has a huge floor either, based on what we saw last week. So I think I'm going to go with Lad again. I was super big on Lad in the offseason. I think this game will be competitive. They'll be able to throw the ball. And I think Lad, if they want to win, they're going to have to throw the ball a bunch to Lad McConkey because he's probably going to be the guy that's most likely going to be open against this defense. I think they're going to try to keep it short and simple. So you should see a lot of Lad. Again, I'm not some fucking offensive guru I'm not some offensive coordinator in the NFL, but that's what I would do if I was looking to attack the Texans. Keep things simple. Keep it simple, stupid. I'm going Lad. Kazin, thank you for the super chat. PPR, London or Evans, Fannin or Kittle, cuffed tongs. Great question. Now, we were a little bit worried about Fannin's injury earlier on the week. I'm going to look for some reporting here. Groin popped up on the injury report. The team wants to see how he feels before playing him. Is there anything more? Harold Fannin. I mean, fantasy football is just such a cursed game. Like, how is everyone hurt? Fannin added to the injury report. It's never a good sign when a player is added to the Friday injury report, but Fannin told reporters on Sunday that he is planning to play. Okay. I mean, look, what I would do is you're in a good scenario because you can wait until Saturday. I mean, wait until Sunday, right? Today's Saturday. In the scenario we can wait until tomorrow, we will know if Kittle's playing probably by tonight or tomorrow at the very least. I have Kittle ranked ahead of Fannin, so I would play Kittle over Fannin. And then London or Evans, I would lean Evans just because Evans is going into the week healthy. And the matchup against the Dolphins is easy. So I'm going to go Evans and Kittle. But if Kittle doesn't play, you're very happy with Fannin. Drew, thank you for the super chat. Start Allen or Lawrence, Houston D or Pittsburgh D. Great question. Okay. Allen or Lawrence. Now, to me, this is a tough question because Lawrence has been playing out of his mind. But to me, I understand that if you actually look up the matchup, like the matchup against the Eagles isn't the best. But like the Bills, they want to win this game, right? This isn't like there are some games this week where teams don't necessarily need to win. They don't give a fuck. They're already eliminated from the playoffs. So they don't care. These are two teams that very much care about winning. And I just feel like if there was going to be a game where you get vintage Josh, right? Where you get that big Josh 40 bomb tactical nuke where you win your fantasy game because of him, it would be this week. And I know that that's, rough because, I watched the guy score 7 fantasy points last week when I had him in my fantasy championship. I watched him play as bad as it gets in my fantasy semifinal last week, and I lost because of it. But I'm going Josh Allen because I think Josh Allen could score 40 plus fantasy points. I don't really see Trevor doing that against the Colts. Again, maybe they just unload the clip like they did up against the Jets. It is possible, but I think it's more likely you see, I think Trevor's more likely to finish as like the quarterback 5, and Josh Allen has that real QB1 upside. So I'd go Josh. If you want to be safer, I think Lawrence is safer, but I would personally play Josh. And then Houston or Pittsburgh defense, that's a great question. Let me pull up the rankings, the old rankings. Sometimes the defenses, with a lot of the players, I just kind of know the rankings through the back of my head, my own rankings. Otherwise, for the defense, a little bit tougher. So I have Pittsburgh 3, Houston 5. The only reason why I have Pittsburgh ranked higher is very simple. Like, I obviously think that the Texans have a better defense, but like, sure, it is a division game against the Browns for the Steelers, so maybe the game could definitely be competitive, but even if it is competitive, I don't expect it to be some type of fucking rootin' tootin' high scoring shootout. I think the defense is going to play very well. And Shador is just like, look, I'm a Shador defender. I like Shador, but some of these plays are inexcusable where he drops back and he's just standing there, watching some, what is that, like counting sheep basically in his head. I don't know why he does that. So I would go Steelers and I would go Josh Allen. Eric, thank you for the super chat. Do you still like Hill over Strange? Thanks, Nick. I mean, in my rankings, I have Strange ranked ahead of Hill. I don't think it's crazy to like Hill more than Strange. My only problem with Taysom Hill really is Taysom Hill to me again. I know there's no Kamara. They don't really have a great running back, and it's a great matchup. Even still, the floor really is the basement with Taysom Hill, right? You feel pretty good going into this week that Strange will get you 5 targets. I can't guarantee that Taysom Hill even gets more than 5 carries. Like, I can't guarantee that. I think if you're looking for the most upside possible, you play Hill because, again, Hill is the only tight end that's going to possibly throw a pass, catch a pass, and run the ball all in the same game. And we saw Taysom Hill have that huge completion for a touchdown at the end of the game, which really pushed the envelope last week for him. And he was still not like the greatest play I've ever seen. He scored 15 fantasy points. I'll give him the credit. It was a good game. But to me, Strange is just safer. If you want to go Hill over Strange, go ahead. I think earlier on the week I did like Hill more than Strange. I don't think that was even a crazy opinion just because of the amount of Mac Hollins plays on the IR. Christian Watson, good to go. Olave is traveling, expected to play. TJ Watt expected to be available for the Steelers' next meaningful game, which I guess will be the playoffs. So, yeah, my gun to the head, I do definitely like Taysom Hill. And I am definitely someone that likes to take risks. So if Eric, if you're looking at your game and you're thinking, maybe I'm gonna lose, like maybe I'm in a scenario where I don't want to play it safe, I would play Taysom Hill. But assuming you feel like you're gonna at least be competitive, or you feel good that you on paper should win, I'm definitely playing Strange. I feel better about Strange. It would be Strange. Hampton or Hendo, RB2, Law or Brissett. Now, Paul, my answer to this question heavily revolves around who the hell your other running backs are, Paul. Let me know in the chat. Do you have any other running back that you can play if Henderson for some reason doesn't play? Because again, while I do believe Henderson will play, there is still that 5% chance that he doesn't, right? So if your other option is terrible, I would just play Hampton. And then T Law or Brissett, I think it's T Law. It's T Law. I got T Law 5, Brissett 7. So I would go Trevor Lawrence. So for me, if it's my team, I'm playing Hendo and T Law. But again, it always depends on who your other running back is, like your other running backs are. Because like if you're looking at Hendo or Hampton, right? And if you play Hendo and he doesn't play, and then you're playing like Chuba Hubbard, and then you're playing, I don't even know, like some backup running back that you don't really like to me, the answer would be then just to play Hampton because you know he's going to play. Right. So the way that I look at this is if Hendo plays, I think even in a limited fashion, he smashes. I think T Law is a certified smash over Brissett. McCole Hardman released by the Bills. So if your backup running back is like, Monungai or Tony Pollard or Zach Charbonnet, someone like that, I'm playing. My other two running backs are CMC RB1. Bijan is in the flex. I also have Stevenson on the bench. Okay, so since you have Stevenson on the bench, you're actually in the perfect scenario. You're just going to play Hendo, and if Hendo doesn't play, you just play Ramondre. So that made it way easier because I was going to say, if you're like RB2 scenarios, like, oh, him or Breece Hall or something, then I think you're definitely playing Hampton. But in your scenario, I'm going Hendo and I'm going T-Law. Thank you for the super chat. Mikael Contera, thank you for the super chat. Again, if I pronounce your name wrong, I'm really sorry. No problem, Paul. I am really sorry. I try genuinely to get everyone's name right, and I do feel bad when I don't get your guys' names right, especially the people that are here all the time. I do feel bad if I pronounce your name wrong. But then again, I pronounce the players' names wrong all the time, and people get really mad about it. Like Kyle Manungai, people say I always pronounce that wrong. I pronounce Devon H. I know it's A-Chan. Sometimes I say A-Chain. People get real bent out of shape if you pronounce players' names wrong, I noticed. Which also kind of makes me want to do it more because I think it's very funny. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, there should have been 1,000 left on the most recent one. That's why. That is why. Jaden Higgins. Okay. Thank you for the super chat. All right. Ramondre Stevenson, Michael Carter, or Kenneth Walker. Now, again, my lean is that Travion Henderson plays, so my lean would be not to play Stevenson. Now, if Henderson was out, the answer would obviously be Stevenson. Even if Henderson is limited, I don't think I would be willing to, in my championship, roll the dice even on Ramondre Stevenson, even if Hendo was limited, because even if Hendo's limited, that doesn't guarantee that Ramondre gets you enough touches to take you over the top. So I'm going to go Michael Carter. Again, he is the best matchup for running backs on a per game basis. I really don't think Michael Carter is going to win you your week. Like, I don't think he's going to drop a 30 bomb or something, but I could see him scoring 18, 20. I could see him having, not necessarily a week winning game, but a good enough game for you to have won your week with him in your lineup. Kenneth Walker, again, it's a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. It's I don't trust you for more than the one game that he gave us, right? If you played him last week, you lucked out. If you didn't play him, you were pissed, but you're still here, so you won. So, you're okay with it. That's kind of how I feel. I love Kenneth Walker, the player. I hate the situation he's in. I'm going Michael Carter. Thank you for the super chat. Sticky spray with Hollins out. Start Williams, Burden, or Monungai? Great question. Now, again, I do believe that Kyle Williams is a high upside start. I could see Kyle Williams, see a Skilly. I could see Kyle Williams going out there and having a good game. But for Kyle Williams' good game, to me, it's probably going to be like, it's against the Jets, so it's going to be a beatdown. He gets, 4 targets, catches 3 of them. One of them's a house call. Right? That's his big game. Now, last week, he had a big game. So I'll give him all the credit in the world, right? He had a big enough game. He was the wide receiver 27, right? He had 2 receptions on 3 targets for 46 yards and a touchdown. His big game is something like that, right? So I'd rather just play Burden, who I feel like Burden without Roma Dunze could maybe get 10 targets. I'm not saying that he will, but I think that's in the realm of possibilities. And I just feel like Burden's upside is higher while also being a much safer player. So I would go Burden. Again, I like Monungai. He's just a guy that's really touchdown or bust, right? If Monungai does not score, you feel like you screwed yourself by starting him, right? That's kind of my opinion on it. So I would go Burden. I feel very good about Burden. So Luther Burden for me. Thank you, Sticky Spray. Yo, appreciate you, boss. Cut 1. Thank you so much. I appreciate you too, Adam. Thank you. Means a lot. Appreciate all you guys. Again, if you do not have the funds to super chat, that's fine. You do not have to super chat for me to answer your question. If I do answer all the super chat questions first, that should be pretty clear by the fact that I've just only been answering super chat questions so far. But if you stay till the end of the stream, typically I do get to most of you guys. And I do appreciate you guys, whether you can super chat or not. I'm very appreciative to all of you guys. It means a ton to me. It's crazy every year. I say this every year, every week. It's crazy that so many people watch this shit. It's crazy to me. And I am forever grateful. So thank you guys. Yo, appreciate you. I appreciate you too. Cut 1 out of Core, Michael Carter, Juwan, Taysom Hill, also Bucks or Texans defense. Okay, we'll answer the defense question first because that won't take as much yapping, right? The defense question is going to be easy. You're going to just put one of these guys in. So we got the Texans at 5. I got the Bucks at 9, Bucks at 8. Yours looked at points in that game good. Yours looked at points in last week's game terrible. It's going to be interesting to see how he develops. The Buccaneers are a defense that's very hit or miss. We've streamed the Buccaneers defense a bunch of times this year. Sometimes it's worked. Some weeks people have came after me and been pissed off that they started the Buccaneers defense. And I get it because they have been hit or miss, but I do believe in them. But I'd still go Texans because, while Herbert looked great last week, spoiler alert, that was up against the Cowboys. Fucking old man Phillip Rivers would have a huge game against the Dallas Cowboys, right? Their defense is cheeks. Okay? So I really think that I would just trust the Texans defense more. Even if I think yours could throw multiple interceptions, Like, the Buccaneers defense is so bad that, like, Devon Achane might be able to carve them up. I think the Bucs are a fine option. They're a top 10 option for me. I would just prefer the Texans. I feel a little bit safer with that. And then cut one, to me, it's all about what you're looking for. I'm definitely playing Corum, and I'm definitely playing Michael Carter. If you want to guarantee yourself to get 10 points, I'm playing Juwan Johnson. I would be shocked if up against the Titans with, Chris Olave being banged up coming into the game, if Juwan Johnson completely sucked, I'd be shocked. If he scored like 5 fantasy points, I'd be shocked. Now, if Taysom Hill scored 20 fantasy points, I wouldn't be shocked. If he scored 3 fantasy points, I wouldn't be shocked. If it's my team, I'm playing Corum, Michael Carter, and Juwan, and Taysom Hill is sitting on the bench. As much of a Taysom Hill guy as I am, I would be sitting Taysom Hill. If you need more upside, then I would play Taysom Hill. But if you feel okay enough about your game or normal enough about your game, it's pretty easy to sit Taysom Hill, get the layup with Juwan. Corum I love, Carter I love, Juwan I love this week. And then Bucks or Texans, I'd go Texans. So Corum, Carter, Juwan, Texans. Bill, thank you for the super chat. Hollins, Booty, and Douglas all out this week. Henry over Hill. PPR, sorry, I don't know if you answered this already. No problem, Bill. And then Pitts over Kittle, even if he plays. Great question. Now, my ranking of Kittle is probably going to move depending on what they say. And what I mean by that is if it comes out today and they're like, yeah, Kittle's going to play, the reporting might kind of be obvious and be like, hey, Kittle's going to play, but he's going to be limited. If that's the case, I'm playing Pitts. I do think Pitts is way safer than Kittle. I will say that. I think I feel way safer having Pitts in my lineup than Kittle. And that may be what actually makes me move my rankings. And I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to put Pitts as my tight end 2, which will move Kittle down to tight end 3. And I'm going to move Fannin over Kittle too. No, actually, I'm gonna keep Kittle over Fannin. So I have Pitts tight end 2. So yeah, I'm gonna update those on Patreon in a minute. It's not like that that game is happening right now, so that decision really won't matter. Like if I don't update it instantly, but yeah, I would go. I feel pretty good about Pitts over Kittle actually, because again, regardless of how good Kirk Cousins has looked, Pitts has been just a focal piece inside that offensive attack. Back to back, 4 straight games as a top 6 option, 4 touchdowns over the last 2 games. You got to stick with the hot hand of Pitts, in my opinion. So I'd go Pitts over Kittle. And then Henry or Hill. I don't think I'm sitting Derrick Henry. Unless you mean like Hunter Henry over Hill, which is actually what you might mean. Yeah, that is what you mean. Hunter Henry over Hill. I have Henry. That is what you meant. I have Hunter Henry 1 spot ahead of Taysom Hill. I have Hunter Henry 13, Taysom Hill 14. So, yes, I would go Hunter Henry because he should be more involved with all the injuries. So, yes, Henry over Hill, and then I have Pitts over Kittle. Thank you for the super chat. Lulu, thank you for the super chat. Flex, Carter or McConkey. Tight end, Hill or Parkinson. Kicker, Little or Pinheiro. My running backs are Bijan and Corum. Wide receivers, Wilson, Waddle. Pierce, thanks, handsome. We'll miss this. I'll miss this too. This is the most fun thing to do. Obviously, I love making the videos, but it's very fun just interacting with you guys one-on-one, right? Talking to you guys. And it's just awesome to do. It's very fun. It's my favorite part of every single week. And we will be back tomorrow. Don't you worry. We'll be live tomorrow. And then we'll probably be live week 18 Sunday, even though I know most of you guys don't play week 18 championship and you shouldn't. But for the people that do, I will be live, probably. Okay. Carter or McConkey? I'm going Carter. He's just way safer. Hill or Parkinson? I'm going to be honest with you. I think a lot of people are going to be off on Parkinson this week, and I think Parkinson could have a big game. I would go Parkinson. I'm falling back onto the trap. Maybe that's stupid. To some of you guys. But the run that he went on before last week was so good that it just makes me think the pendulum will swing back his way after everyone just benches Parkinson. So I would go Carter, Parkinson, and then Little or Pinheiro. Good question. I got Little 5, Pinheiro 3. I would go Pinheiro. So Carter, Parkinson, Pinheiro. There you go. And I'll miss this too. I appreciate you. Zachary, thank you for the super chat again. Parker Washington or Luther Burden. Corum, Marks, or Loveland? Great question. Definitely wouldn't go Loveland. For me, it would be between Marks and it would be between Corum. I think I would go Corum just strictly because Corum continues to keep scoring and Woody Marks continues to get hurt. I wouldn't be shocked if Woody Marks really had a huge game. Because again, Woody Marks continues to show us that this is a guy that can play ball. And the Patriots didn't elevate any running backs from the practice squad, which will tell you that, Travion Henderson's going to play. Just so you know, that's a good sign that Henderson's going to play. What I was going to say is Marks' injuries that just keep happening concern me enough to just kind of wave the white flag and say, just play Corum. Again, Corum continues to score. He continues to have a nose for the end zone. He continues to put up solid games. I'm not saying that he is necessarily Corum's like a must-start RB. I'm not going to sit here and act like that, but I do think I trust Corum more than I trust Marks, as sad as that may sound. So I would go Corum over Marks. And then Parker Washington or Burden. I'm going Burden. He's just way safer. I know Parker Washington had a big game last week, and we've been talking up Parker Washington for a lot of the season. So Parker Washington definitely has the skills to pay the bills. But with BTJ there, with Jacoby Myers playing as well as he has, with Strange maybe get more involved, I think the smart move is just to go Burden. So I'd go Burden and Corum. We buy homes near you. Non-PPR, BTJ, Carter, Kyron, Hampton, Hendy. Great question. This is easy. You're not playing. You don't need anything to do with BTJ. You don't want to touch BTJ with a 10-foot pole. You don't want to be anywhere near the guy. And you lucked out because you don't have to be. Right? In your scenario, you do not have to play him. That's good. So for me, again, in standard leagues, all I'm thinking is touchdowns. All I'm thinking is who the hell is going to score me a touchdown to potentially take me over the top? I'm playing Henderson. Again, they didn't elevate anyone from the practice squad. That means Henderson's playing, in my opinion. So I think Henderson's playing. I'm going Henderson. I'm going Hampton. I'm going Kyron. Again, the only reason why Carter is a sit in the best matchup for RBs on a per game basis is because he does not, to me, reek of a running back that's going to score multiple touchdowns and have that huge game. Henderson against the Jets, I think he could find the end zone twice. I think Hampton could find the end zone twice, even against the Texans. I think Kyron could find the end zone twice. I don't think Carter's even a lock to score one touchdown. So while I love Carter this week against the Bengals, it's Kyron, Hampton, and Hendy. Dixie Freely, thank you for the super chat. Michael Pittman or Luther Burden at the wide receiver 3. I'm going Burden. Again, I wish we felt really good about Christian Watson because Michael Pittman, because Michael Pittman to me looked like he had the makings of, that guy that could win you your league that not many people expected. I definitely didn't expect it. I thought it would be Josh Downs, right? I thought that Josh Downs would get that connection and Michael Pittman was playing unreal off the chain, but he just really doesn't have a connection with Rivers as of right now, which makes me unable to play him. So I'd rather go with Luther Burden. And I think Luther Burden, I just feel a lot safer with Burden, and I think they have similar upside, so I'd rather go with the guy I feel better about. JJJ, GS5MB, my man, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate you. Merry Christmas, man. Merry Christmas to you as well. I appreciate you. And if you have a question, let me know in chat. Merry Christmas to you as well. Merry Christmas to all of you guys. Whether you celebrate Christmas or not, I hope you guys are doing well. Happy holidays. I'm very appreciative of all you guys for watching my videos, watching my streams. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. And thank you, JJ. It means a lot to me. JJJ. Hey, baby. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope everyone is having a good time out here. And obviously, everyone that's here is probably in their championship. So you guys are just having a good time in general. You're feeling good. You're feeling nicey, as John Gruden would say, right? I asked Santa for a Dolphins playoff win. I've been asking him that for 26 years, and he still hasn't given me one. What the hell, man? What's up with Santa? Might have to go to the North Pole and ask him what's wrong. Why doesn't Santa like me, And yeah, we're going to get to some of the normal questions here. Thank you again, JJJ. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Donera. Thank you for the super chat. Did you drop a question? If you have a question, drop it in the chat. Let me see. I'm just gonna open up the YouTube stream. Did you drop a question? Super chat not working for me, Kiap? That's fine. Just ask your question in normal chat. Sometimes the super chats just don't fucking work. I have no idea why. Oh, can only start 2 from that list. Okay, my bad. My bad. Did I read that wrong? If you can only start 2, if you can only start 2, I think I'm going Kyron and Henderson. If you can only start 2, I'm going Kyron and Henderson. It's tough because there's no Vidal, so Hampton could have a huge game, but the matchup also just isn't great, man. The matchup just isn't great, so I would go Hendo Kyron. That's really it. It's just about the matchup, and again, even a limp dick version of Hendo, I think he could score. I think he could score 25. I guess it's standard, so maybe not 25 points. Standard's always weird with that, but yeah, I think he could still have a great game. So I'm going Henderson. I'm going Kyron. Thank you for the super chat. And let me see. I was looking for this person's question. If you have a question, please drop it in chat. You could have asked it before. Wait, I gotta mute this shit. I don't want to hear myself again. DONERAA. Saints or Texans defense? Thank you for the super chat. Great question. Saints or Texans? Man, it's another one of those, like, these defense questions this week are tough. Saints or Texans? I would go Saints or Texans. I got Texans 5, Saints 9. Cam Ward starting to look good does kind of concern me about the Saints. The Saints are looking good. So, like, I'm going to give the Saints a lot of credit for how well they played defensively recently. But that, in the back of my head, does still concern me enough to where I would just go Texans. I'm going to go with, that was the question, right? It was Saints or Texans? Yeah, I'm going Texans. And I would have went Kyron and Hendo. And Dino Giancola, thank you for the super chat. Sampson/Sanders, Taysom, and Loveland. Great question. Great question. Now, the problem with Sanders and Sampson to me really just is the offensive line of the Browns is so bad. It's so heavily injured. And obviously, that's just not something you can really trust. Now, in my opinion, Sampson doesn't, like, if Sampson plays, he doesn't as much need the offensive line to be incredible because Sampson is a guy that can catch passes and just house any check down. Just absolutely house it. We've seen it at points this season. But it is like a big play kind of guy, right? Like, I don't think Sampson is really like the safest bet ever. I did talk about him in the waiver wire video because, yes, I do think he's a good ad, right? Because if you needed a spot start running back, you can play him. Dylan Sampson, hand questionable. We still don't know the specifics of his hand injury. That's sidelined week 15 and 16, but the rookie running back practiced every day this week. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Sampson just because of the, dump off equity, the touchdown potential equity there if he's able to house one. And then the question, like, Sampson against Pittsburgh. Oh, shit, I just punched the microphone. Sorry. The Steelers for running backs, not the best matchup, not the worst. Like, I could see Sampson having a good game. So it would be Sampson and then Taysom or Loveland. I mean, like, I would play Loveland. There are enough injury. Like, without Rome, Loveland could have a big game. Is Komet playing? Cole Komet's, like, just permanently banged up. Cole Komet, questionable. Yeah, he was limited in Wednesday's practice. He'll probably play. All right. So I'm going to move Loveland down my rankings. And I'm going to play Taysom Hill. I am going to play Taysom Hill. Because, look, again, Loveland, there really is not much safety. He just doesn't seem like a guy that's a lock to score a shit ton of points. So, gun to the head, if it's my team, which, again, I treat all these questions like this is my own fantasy team, I'm playing Sampson and Taysom. That's what we're going to do. Good luck to everybody. Facts. Good luck. Hampton or Henderson? I'm playing Henderson because, again, I believe Henderson's going to play. If no Kittle, do I start Tongs or Parkinson? I'd play Parkinson. Hampton a lock versus the Texans. For most people, he is a lock. Yes, I'm not saying he's a mortal lock. Bet your take out your grandma's mortgage and bet it on him. Like, no, I don't think that, but I do think they should be good enough to, provide for you in that game. You should be good. Good luck to everyone. Let's win that chip. Facts. Yeah, Hampton over Henderson. Henderson over Hampton for me. Flex, Michael Carter, Bird. Thank you, back. Burden, Trey Tucker, or Josh Downs. I got Zay Flowers and Josh Jacobs. Wish me luck. Are we worried about the Patriots defense? Is injuries? I would be worried about the Patriots defense injuries if they were going up against, a team that concerned me, right? If they were going up against, let's just say, any offense that I thought had a bit of juice, yes, I would be concerned. I would be very concerned. But up against the Jets, I don't have an ounce of concern. Not an ounce of concern at all. I'm not even remotely concerned. So I would go with, I still think the Patriots defense is fine. I think they're still a top end option against the Jets. The Jets are just fucking awful. Let's be real. The Jets are awful. So I would go, I'm still good with the Patriots defense. Carter, Burden, Trey Tucker, or Josh Downs. Again, this one's tough. You have Flowers and Jacobs. I personally don't love Jacobs today. And based on my assumption that I don't think Jacobs is going to go nuclear, I'm going to take the layup of Carter to balance things out. To me, the question is between Burden and Carter. I don't give a fuck about Trey Tucker or Josh Downs in your scenario. They're not even a part of the thought process for me. I would go Carter. I do think Burden might have more upside just because I don't see Carter completely smashing. But again, it's the best matchup for running backs. Carter just feels so safe to me. I know he didn't produce how I thought he would last week. But again, that wasn't the most elite matchup ever, right? I was just relying on him because I thought that the game, I thought Brissett would do his normal. They do really well at the end of the game, right? That's what I thought would happen, but it didn't happen. Whereas I feel like up against the Bengals, it will happen. So I'd personally go Carter. MC Sweet, thank you for the super chat. Texans or Chargers money line? You're just looking to bet it? Gun to the head, I would bet the Texans. I think the Texans will win. Would this be my biggest bet of all time? No. It's a coin flip. It's just more of me thinking that if the Texans and the Chargers both play their best game, I think the Texans win because the Texans defense is just that good. And also, I still don't believe that the Chargers are fully, I don't think that Herbert's fully healthy still. I know, we played so good against the Cowboys. That's the fucking Cowboys, all right? No one thinks the Cowboys are some elite defense. No one should think that. So, for me, I would bet the Texans. In my pool that I do on Sleeper, the our betting pool that we do, I picked the Texans. I believe the Texans will win this game. I took the Texans the Texans are +1 on there, but +1.5. I would go Texans personally. It is a home game for the Chargers, so I guess that might move the needle for some of you, but I believe the Texans will win. I hope Nico goes off today. Me too. I hope he goes off for you. Waller, Hill, or Mayer? I would go Waller. Marks or Sampson? I would go Marks. Michael Marks. Trey Tucker or Kyle Williams? I would go Kyle Williams. I know a lot of people really like Trey Tucker, man, but I don't know. Something just reeks. Trey Tucker just reeks. There's no way I would trust him in my championship. I'd rather just roll a dice on Kyle Williams. Alrighty. Talk to me. Talk to me. All right, let's do a first touchdown bet on this game. Who's going to score the first touchdown? I'm going to throw that bitch on. Dalton Schultz has never scored the first touchdown in a Texans game. Throw $3 on Schultz. And then I'll throw $5 on Nico. Again, those first touchdown bets, I would never bet heavy on those. It's just like, it's so random. It's just for fun. Just for funsies. All right. I got a bunch of odds boosts on BetMGM. I gotta use Duval. Marks or Gainwell? Gainwell. Marks or Gainwell. Does this not feel like Taysom Hill's annual nuke game? He dropped a 40 bomb last year on the road against a bad team. Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that it is possible that he has a nuke game. Every year, Taysom Hill drops one nuke game. And he hasn't yet, so I guess he's due for it, but I don't know. I don't know, man. Something to me just doesn't feel incredible about him here. I just don't feel great about it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he goes bananas. All right, yeah. So I do think Taysom Hill could have that big game. It's just hard for me. Hard for me to truly believe it. Start Wandale, DJ Moore, Michael Wilson, or Olave. I think Wandale's getting the cut. I just want to make sure. Based off my rankings, is Wandale getting the cut? I got Wandale 19, Moore 15, Wilson 17. Yeah, Wandale's getting the drop. Drizzy Drake, London, or Michael Wilson? I'd play Drake London. Nick, you like Gainwell or Carter better? Thanks for the awesome content throughout the season. No problem, Nino. Cousin Nino. I'm going Gainwell personally over Carter. Gainwell's had a big season recently. Fannin or Johnson at tight end? I'd go Fannin if he plays. All right. Yeah, I would go Gainwell personally. Thank you guys for watching the stream. Best of luck. I'm going to drop the Discord in the chat. Make sure you guys do hop in the Discord. I'm going to spam that shit in the chat. Make sure you guys are in there. Thank you, Spock, for helping answer all the questions. Hope you guys all had a Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everyone. Make sure you guys are up in the Discord. I'll be in there like swimwear. Hope you guys have a great one. I'm greatly appreciative of all of you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow on Sunday, 11 a.m. What about Michael Wilson or A.J. Brown? A.J. Brown. At around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we're live. Normally. Take it easy, Hanovers. Yeah, see you, Brian. See you guys. Best of luck. Same to you. Hope you guys are doing well. I appreciate you guys all. We'll play some music on the way out. I almost accidentally clicked the gong. Look at weird ass songs. Yeah. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Good-boy. See you guys. See you guys all tomorrow. We'll be there. Hopefully everyone gets a nice lead. Thank you, Mike. Going into tomorrow. Have a good one. Peace out. Bye.